Hi, welcome to my config tutorial. I'm Adam Smith. This tutorial is on the detailing toolbar, which is found here on the left. I've got a fair bit to go through with this, so I'm just going to pull it out into the open. It has 14 buttons, which we will run through now. First button here is called the Document Center. Document Center is used for a couple of things. The first one here is the first tab here is to populate the drawing information table, which then is used to fill out our title blocks through automatic detailing. Now, basically, we've replaced the drawing information table to just keep it a lot simpler for the users to know what to fill out. Okay, so essentially, client's name, sheet revision, etc., job number. Fairly easy to populate. I also have I have 3 areas for the revision history. So I have had limited space to fill out that I'm allowed to use in the drawing information table. So I've pinched some of the details out of here so that I can populate more of the revision history. I was getting a few requests for that. The next tab over is the title block updater. The title block updater is brand new, very useful for making changes to title blocks. Let's say we've mucked up some of the details in a title block. I think we've all done it, where we've put the wrong job number down or something like that, and we need to go back and we need to fix a couple of 100 drawings. This is the way to do it. So essentially, you go select File, go to your whatever folder that your drawings are in. In this circumstance, it's ours are in the detail folder, so I'm just going to grab a couple of drawings there. If I pick one of those, it will then populate what the attributes for those are, and I can edit any of those. Now, the other thing it's really good for is doing as-builts and so forth. So, in this instance here, I might want to make it revision B. I would, let's say, as-built. Today's date. Okay, now if we were just editing something that was a mistake within here, we would fix up what we need to fix up, and we would overwrite the file name. Okay, because we're just touching up some existing drawings. In this instance, we don't want to touch up the existing drawings. This is a brand new drawing that needs to be created. Okay, so in this instance, I would save a copy, okay, and we'll call the copy Rev B. Okay, so I'm going to put Rev B in there. And the other thing is, don't forget your sheet revision, because then you will have to use this. Okay, so Rev B. Okay, and then I can either update this selected file or I can update all of them. In this instance, I'll update all of them. Okay, it's all done there, and we'll have some new drawings that have been created. Okay, I'm going to jump out of there. Now, this is a work in progress at this stage, guys. We will fix this up as time goes on. For the moment, there is one little glitch that we haven't addressed yet, and that is that it won't overwrite this section here. It actually adds an amendment to it. So if you go to my tutorials, you'll find a tutorial on the bulk rename tool, and that's how I do these. But essentially, that is now a Rev B drawing, and you can see that it is as built with a Rev B, so it creates a copy. Okay, it's a fantastic little tool, very, very fast, does many drawings in one hit. Okay, the next button over is the part list button. The part list button has been created to batch create part lists. So the first thing we need to do at the moment, again, this tool is a tool in progress. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a database. From that database, then I can create many bulk part lists. So just as an example, we would need to go to ProSteel. We would want to create a part list database. Okay, as usual, you would save that wherever you like. I generally save mine in the job folder. This one here, I'm going to call it test number 3, and I'm just going to drop it in the part list folder for convenience tonight. Create a database, let it come up, see if there's any errors. There is no errors, so I'm happy with that. Close it straight down. From there to this tool, and you can select whatever list you want. So I'd like a bolt list, I'd like a cut list, I'd like a material order list. There's no tilt panels or handrails. A bolt location list would be nice as well. Okay, we have the ability, before I create these, to save this off to any particular folder we want. I just currently, for this demo, I have a part list test folder that's on the desktop. Okay, so I'm going to save to there. Also, we have file paths. These will all be set by the time you get to use your system, but I do have a couple of user ones in there for you guys that have got your own group lists that you'd like to add, or your own single parts that you'd like to add. Okay, so basically that is a one-time set and forget. Other than that, we select what list we want, create, choose the database, was test 3, and off it goes. It's very, very fast. This creates the PDF copies of our part lists, all finished. There we go. So it just created those. And now if we go out to our desktop, to our parts list folder, I have got myself a bolt list. Nice and neat. Okay. Right, the next tool that we're going to go through is the Scale Detail tool. The Scale Detail tool is very, very good for showing areas where you'd like to show what side of the beam the cleat goes on and so forth. It works really well for isometrics. Now it can only be used in the 2D detail, and in this instance here you can see if I highlight that, this is all still the one inserted block. So it will still work on the one inserted block, but it'll work a lot quicker if you explode that block back to its individual steel members. Okay, from here I shall create a scale detail. Just a little tip, guys, make sure that your layer, now that I think of it, is on PS dim, if you were to change it in the past, PS dim. Okay, that keeps anything to do with that annotation all on the one layer. Put a circle around, it'll ask you to put a circle around it. Give yourself plenty of room to drop the detail, and it has a scale factor down the bottom on the command line should you want to fill it out. Okay, this is fantastic. I use these a lot, and in every instance of marking plans where I get an opportunity. So, you know. I love them. I use it a lot. Okay, the next one I'd like to show you along, it creates a bevel symbol. I'll put that in there for you guys that are doing roofs and sometimes stairs. I'll use a stair in this instance. This scale, all of the scales for the annotation, anything to do with annotation, is linked to your dim scale, so please make sure that your dim scale is sorted out before you add any of this stuff. Excuse me. Create the bevel symbol, select the object that you want to create the bevel on, select the side you would like the symbol on, in it goes. Okay, so if I selected the top side, it'll make it the opposite. Pretty simple, that one. The next one creates a break line. This is just handy if you were to manually shorten something and so forth. You know, if I wanted to add something here, you just add a couple of these in, you know, just there to make life a little bit easier for you. Something like that, and then you can break it up. Note. The note adds a paint finish to ProSteel groups. This happens in the model environment, so we'll go back out to our model environment, which is here. Okay. Add group notes. Say this object here. Okay, and it will put the group note in the data, group data, note 1. You don't put anything in note 2, please. Okay, so you can do that en masse, of course. So, you know, I can do the whole. That as per spec that you can see there has gone in there because I'd originally already put a paint spec in, and that new one has actually pushed that one down. So you want to clear any of the existing ones first. This point style change, that is to, if you open an engineering drawing up and it has the little point markers, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Now I use these for dividing up. It's a terrible line choice. I use this for dividing up things like if I had to equally space some things. You know, this is a reference line. This will be the line I want to divide up. Div. You know, let's say I wanted to divide that line up into 8 equal spaces. We get these little node points. Okay, and those little node points can be toggled on and off through this point style change. Okay, so point style 1 is none. If you go enter again and type 3, you get this type. Okay, and you get all different types, so you can have a bit of a play with that. I find this particularly useful because that now gives me something to snap to. Okay, so if I had an object here, I can now copy that object. A lot like array, but you don't need to sit there and work out the distances. OSM is OSNAP mode. OSNAP mode I have set to 61 personally. So what I'm talking about here is your OSNAP settings. All right. With ProSteel, anything in 3D, in fact, perpendicular to, nearest, and midpoint are all very, very dangerous snaps to have on in a 3D environment. Particularly ones like midpoint, where for this beam here, for example, the midpoint, if I go hide except this beam here, as you can imagine, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines there underneath each other. Top, inside, inside, bottom. Okay, same with here. So there's so many midpoints there. By me going midpoint, I have no idea which one it's actually selecting. So please be careful with your snaps. I actually turn that off until I'm in an environment like this where I can go, yes, I definitely can select the midpoint of that one there, or this one over here. Okay, so it's just good drawing practice, guys. Just please be careful. The next one on is grouping on, grouping off. Okay, so I get a lot of people ask me when I want to edit a group. I need one welded together. That's probably not a great one. When I want to edit a group, I might want to move this around because for whatever reason it didn't come in straight or so forth. I can go group on, and that will now move this object as an entire block. All right. But also I get people saying to me, I want to edit this dimension here, and it won't let me do it. That's because your grouping is on. Turn it off. Okay. Now individual dimensions can be added. Group on, group off. Okay. Off is the default. That's the one that you want most of the time, please. Okay. Next one here is global scale. Now I go into this in the detailing procedure. I actually go into how to use it, but essentially it sets the scale environment globally for your drawing. Okay, for when this is for detailing. Okay, because what's happened is in this instance I've run through here and I have dropped in a detail into a border, and the border defines what scale I drop it in at. I need to update all the scales, the dim scale, the line type scale, the ProSteel scale. Okay, so any annotation work that I do is going to be all up to date. This one does it all in one fell swoop. Okay, so go in and have a look at the procedure for detailing. I go into it there. Same with this guy here. Edits the work frame. Okay, what it does is it quite often when we get a lot of these work frames, you can see here, just for fun, I've got a couple here that are different size. Okay, these guys here are actually too big by the look of them. But let's muck around with this one. What is this one? Properties. Options. Right, here's 1:30. These guys are 1:50. I can tell you that 1:50 is the scale of this, so it's actually this guy here is wrong, but because I've got a lot more of them, I'll show you what I've done. So let's say I wanted to mimic the rest of this one. Here's 1:30, and he has a 20 mil. Here's a 20 mil distance. Axis gap really should be 0 as well. I don't like an axis gap. Okay, so I'm going to come up here to this guy. I'm going to go you, and you run around and grab all your work frames. And now I can globally go, I'd like to set them all to 30. Your text size never changes from 3. Distance 20. Axis gaps 0. Apply. And it's just fixed all of your work frames up in one hit. Okay, really good when you've got a whole stack of them. Okay, so try that out. This is all to increase your productivity. This one here just draws a rev cloud if we've made an adjustment. Now, rev cloud should be done in red, please. Okay, so change your layer to red. Rev cloud. And if I've made an adjustment in here, and if I've drawn an adjustment in here somewhere, you can put a rev cloud. That's too small, okay? So change your arc length if needed. I'm going to change mine to 40. And hopefully going to change my arc length to 100. Not quite sure why it's so small. It's a little bit better. Okay. Pretty easy to use, guys. If you need the other way around, O for object. Okay, now, all right, start again from here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is your rev cloud here. Rev cloud should be done in red, this layer here, the outline red. Okay, if you don't like how close together the little arcs are, start the command, type in A for arc length, okay, and add a new figure. At the moment it's 100, I'm going to change it to 150, enter, enter, okay, off we go. End up with a nice neat rev cloud. Okay, that's up to you guys what you'd like to do and what you would like to see. If you like the inverted ones, okay, select the command, O for object, select the last one you've done, and it's going to ask you, do you want to reverse the direction of it? Y for yes. Okay, and that gives you these little ones too. Okay, that one there is really good for hold. This one here is good for revision. Okay. All right, the final thing is here, I have a whole heap of annotation. All right. An example of this would be things like overall. Let's go and find something. Look, this'll do. I'm not going to go to too much trouble with this. Overall, adds a little line of annotation to it. Okay, equal. Here we go. Something like that, you know. Lots of funky little annotation bits and pieces just to quickly and efficiently make your job look like it's been neatly hand detailed. All right. Final one down the bottom is I've just got a quick button to orbit a job. So I use that all the time rather than have a whole orbit toolbar up or be typing commands. Okay, that finishes our tutorial on the detailed toolbar. There's a lot of funky tools in there, so hopefully you get to use the whole lot of them. Thank you very much. This is Adam Smith.